Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone, and I was going to actually introduce Dawn Self-Cooper, and I see she's gone around the room and introduced herself to everybody, which is terrific, and it's nice to have you here. We now have 3 representatives from Hiram, so, and 3 women, yes. I was going to go and congratulate Danny, but she's not here this evening. Am I right, Allison, that she was reelected, not you?
Right, she
Yeah,
was,
okay.
yeah, she was.
So she's now for another 3 years. And Missy is in Florida. Lucky duck. Yeah. And the other good thing is the clock is back, so now we can look at the time and.
I wonder where that came from.
There used to be another one, yeah.
No, I have no idea.
And the students are not going to be here because Emma has been selected as first team senior all-star, and she's playing in a basketball game. And Bridget is second team.
Yes, but she's at the game supporting Emma with the coaches, and I assume some other players will be there
Yep.
tonight.
So anyway,
Where they play?
congratulations.
Cape Elizabeth.
Congratulations to Emma, first team senior All-American, not All-American, but All-State.
All
right?
state, all conference.
All
But
conference.
yes.
Yeah. Good.
Great.
We have no hearing of delegations, so we have a quorum.
We do?
All right, number 2 item, consideration to approve the minutes from the February 7th and the February 26th Board of Directors meeting.
So moved.
Bradley?
Second.
Olin?
All those in favor? The minutes are approved. Anyone abstaining because you aren't here?
Maggie and Dawn?
Well, the February
And
7th.
Jen?
I wasn't here for the
Yeah.
26th.
And Julie.
Maggie, Dawn, Jolene, and Jen, I thought I saw. Is that true, Jen Hank?
You got it.
Alright, got it, abstain.
Okay. Consideration to approve the proposed agenda for the March 6, 2024 Board of Directors meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Jolene, Bradley?
All those in favor? The agenda is approved. Finance Committee report.
Okay, I will take this one. We had another great meeting with that this morning. Peggy did a nice job reporting. We're in the same place that we've done month over month. State subsidies been received and recorded. The 5 towns are in. Operating revenues continue to exceed and expenses continue to be in line. Food service, which a couple, 3 years back, board member made me nervous. We are gaining ground like we traditionally do through the end of the year, closing the gap. And adult ed revenues continue to exceed and continue to be in line with the budget. Very well done this morning.
Any questions? Construction, transportation, and safety.
I will take that one as well. We have a few new things spoke to the construction committee about this morning. We are getting to the point at the end of the year where we do some projects and take things on in the spring as we head to better weather. A few things that we'll be looking to do through Johnny's work with his team, replacing the front half of the roof on an elementary school modular. So where a hallway enters the modular, the front side is having some issues with water. So getting the roofing company out here, they suggested getting the front side. We'll try and get a few quotes on that before we proceed forward. And you might say, why are you doing the front side? Well, the back half works, so we're not going to waste taxpayer money. The back side's a nice steel roof, completely functional, so we'll just replace the side that needs replacing on the modular. Second item, replacing the roof on the industrial art section of the high school. Our board member's been around for a long time. That's the 1-floor shop area. Recently, I have my exact notes, but we did the gym, which was a thing for years with the gymnasium having some leaks. That roof's been replaced. Along the progression, probably time for the IA roof to be replaced. That's a much smaller roof. We are expecting a lesser cost. And the last thing, repairing, not replacing, the steam traps at the high school. I understand it's somewhat like a carburetor, there's insides to the steam traps that let steam through and water back. It is time in our maintenance to replace those steam traps and improve efficiency with our high school boiler. So that was the 3 upcoming bigger maintenance projects that we'll be tackling as we head through the spring. And the ESSER project, I just wanted to show a reminder. I'm sure that Sue Day will do a wonderful job of creating a request for proposal. This was the ESSER project that this board has previously approved and seen, or just when you see out in the shopping guide, et cetera, where we place this. One multi-purpose court. At first we were thinking tennis court. The cost of, if you can believe it, getting that green and blue goop on top of pavement is significant. So I think we are now thinking of pavement with more basketball hoops and less tennis court at our middle school. And talking to Mike Lane and Sonny Logan, I think they were thinking basketball and a place for the kids to play at recess would be more beneficial than tennis over there. So we'll look to get some pavement and basketball hoops at our middle school. If money allows in our ESSER grant, those are the 2 existing courts at our high school, a 3rd court, and again, I think we'd be looking at pavement and basketball, because right now, I think you'll see the kids in community playing basketball here, and you'll see a lot of pickleball here. If we were able to build a new court with basketball hoops here, that would open up another court for tennis or pickleball and not have basketball in this area. I'm not sure if we'll have enough money to cover all those courts, so priority 1 would be the middle school. Frankly, those kids have nothing right now in terms of recess place to play and shoot baskets. Priority 2, if money allows in the grant, we look at the high school. How much is in the grant, Carl? $200,000. So I don't want to give away our negotiations on TV. We have to price this out and et cetera, but our grant is public. So if we can get them both, great. If we can get one, great. We'll do the best we can to make that money stretch and get our kids and community a place to play.
So up to this point in the middle school, the older kids, they had swings and that little basketball hoop thing that you can just reach up, and so now they'll have real things.
Real basketball hoops and pavement, and they could do, I don't know if I'm getting to be an old guy, but 4 square, if that's still a thing when you're, and you're sure you could set up pickleball on the pavement that we do, could do all kinds of games on that. I think it'd be a great area for that.
Right?
So, I love hearing this about the ESSA funds, but if we're looking at the newspaper and what we see on TV, a lot of school districts are having problems right now with shot balls and all. Are we coming close to any of that?
I would say the shortfalls would be more positional than stuff. So as this board knows, we fund a few positions from ESSER, and yes, that does create a cliff. It ends September 30th, 2024. So we have a special education position, we have an ed tech position. We have some positions in ESSER that we'll talk about at our budget meeting that will create somewhat of a shortfall for this district, yes. Not this, because this will be a one and done.
Right.
It'll be paid for, but some positions do create that same thing. I think Lake Region mentions in his notes that he's facing
Absolutely.
a shortfall because of ESSER funding, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, of course.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Next item is the curriculum committee, who did not meet, and their next meeting is March 13th. And our wellness committee will be meeting, I believe, one more time, and that will be in April. Lake Region Vocational Advisory Committee.
We did meet.
Yep.
And I didn't print it off, and Becky saved my neck by printing one off on me. I don't think it's necessary to read this whole thing, but I wanted to tell you a few highlights. One of the things was the ESSA funding, and the things that our kids are going to right now, 2 times a week. It's going to be changed around so they will get the same amount of classroom hours, but they're only going to be there once a week. I don't know if that's going to favor us in transportation-wise or not. It would seem though it might. I don't know that. Another good thing is they're offering through Southern Maine Community College, a anatomy and physiology program where they get credit hours for both college and for high school, which is looks very good, and it's not going to be distance learning; it's going to be actually on site. The downside, the next issue is the law enforcement program. For some reason, they're having difficulty getting kids to go into law enforcement these days. Nobody can figure it out. sure that the parents have a big hand in this, and you know, if I had a kid that age, I certainly would not encouraging going to it. Law enforcement, you know, in the past, great career, you know, great retirement. I'm looking at it as a great retirement. I'm a retired state Maine teacher, but these days with everybody shooting at everyone, it's not a job that's looked up to anymore. They're trying to, you know, even present it more.
Changing the name of it,
Well,
right?
changing the name doesn't change what goes on, you know, that's just smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned, because, you know, it's, you still can get shot at whether you're border patrol or, you know, working in an airport or whatever. Anyway, computer program also doesn't have the number of students that we should be having. You all got this on your computers anyway, but I just wanted to throw a couple of highlights out there that things that you
Yeah,
need
I
to pay
think
attention
there
to.
was another program too that they're having trouble filling.
Computer technology.
Is that it?
Yes.
Which is weird. Yeah.
So anyway, Wally Ridlin, who's heading up the program over there, has set up a bunch of on-site visitations for kids, and there's a big one in Bangor on March 15th. Next Thursday or Friday would be co-op and diversified occupation classes. In fact, he asked me if I'd like to go with him. I'm considering it. So.
Okay, good, thank you. Any questions for anybody? Adult Ed Advisory Committee, there was no meeting, and the next meeting to be determined. Have you heard anything there,
No.
Jolene?
No.
Policy report, there was no meeting, and our next meeting is March 13th. But we do have an action item from policy. If you turn over your page, and that's consideration to approve the following policies as a second read and adoption. JEA, compulsory attendance.
So moved.
Second.
Jolene Bradley.
Any questions on that?
Well, I asked Suzanne a question earlier today, and I'm going to, maybe Carl can shed some more light on this. On one part of, I read it again today, and it gave a booking page, a subject section in the state of Maine rules on this about how homeschoolers were to perform, and so Suzanne told me that we don't monitor it, and so I guess I gotta ask Carl, does anybody from the state actively monitor these programs?
The homeschool instruction?
Yes.
So they are required to submit X paperwork with us. We chase that paperwork, the actual analysis of that paperwork.
No?
No. If they want to come to school with us, then our principal would review. But
Right.
if they're just progressing through that system, no, we just make sure that they've submitted subsequent letters. And Becky actually does all that great work and chases them all down
Okay.
at the start of every year.
I just found that interesting.
Homeschool kids can take part in our sports and our
I'll jump in on
cultural
that,
activities, yeah.
Yes, as long as they meet all the same eligibility requirements as the public school students, i.e. if we have kids pass 5 classes, they need to submit to us that they've passed 5 classes to be eligible for athletics or the dance or the trip or the whatever.
Got it.
But yes, they have the right to access all of our programming.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Everyone, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Superintendent's report.
Okay, so again, for folks watching, I know everybody can read what's in front of them. Jamie Scott has resigned as an educational technician, and Joe Peterson is resigning / retiring from the accounts payable clerk role effective at the end of her contract year. We thank Jill for her service to accounts payable. We appoint Kathy Larrabee as a food service assistant, filling a vacancy, and a voluntary transfer of Kathy Doherty from grade 7-8 English teacher at the middle school to grade 3 at our elementary school. She will finish the year in her current position and transfer to the same certification area, which is K-8 at our elementary school next year. She thinks she's excited, as is our elementary school. Thank Kathy for stepping up for that switch. Review spring 2024 learning plan. Same thing we do every month. We say things are going well here. It's the plan that you approve every 6 months per DOE, per ESSER. Things are going well with visitors, nutrition, RTI opportunities. Sue did a wonderful job of posting your approved plan for the spring of 2024 on our website. A couple other things that I wanted to mention, or I guess just one other thing. We started talking about the calendar. If you can believe it, it's already that time of year where we talk with Lake Region and Freiburg about our school calendar. It's looking very similar to the calendar that we've run for the last, gee whiz, has to be 11 years, yeah, or so, yeah. So with the workshop data start and then the pre-K, K4 and so on, we're gonna get to see it next month. What I really want to run by you is graduation. We had talked about it last year, so my intent per the school board was to have every senior have a vote to graduation, whether it be Friday night, June 6th at 6 p.m. or Sunday, June 8th at 1 p.m. and bring the results to you. So this year, when you approve the calendar in April, it's done and it is set and we don't deal with it again, and everybody knows when Project Grad is, and everybody knows when graduation is, rain or shine, it'll be that day in our gym or on our field. I spoke to Joanne, who's the senior advisor. She's willing to do that work, so if the board should so desire, we'll do it one more time to check on Friday or Sunday, which were the 2 best dates historically, to give parents the option. That's still good, team?
I thought we decided on May 31st.
That's this year. I'm talking about 25. I'm trying to get way ahead of it, Judy.
Oh, okay.
We're doing next year right now, 25.
Got it.
24 is set. And Sue, I don't know if you wanted to mention something regarding.
I did, I just tried to, Dr. Landry and I were talking about things going on that you might end up hearing about and wondering. So if you saw on the news, one of our local housing complex has had some issues and has had to relocate at least 5 of our families to a hotel and another location in southern Maine. So as part of the McKinney-Vento, better known as Homeless Act, we are responsible for providing transportation for those students to Sacopee and back to their location about 50 minutes away. So that is really taxing our van service, our school buses. Jana is working daily on issues. We have a school bus driver who's doing their route and then taking a van. We have some parents who are able to transport one way, but we are always one small glitch of someone is out and the whole plan collapses to transport those 5 families to school. Initially, we were told this would be like a 3-week issue, that the families would be back in their housing. We're now hearing May 2nd. So I just wanted you to know, in case you got a call from someone, because ideally, and the law says, and there's no wiggle room in the law, they are supposed to be here every day, the same exact schedule as every other student. As you can imagine, trying to get everyone here at 8 and everyone leave at 2:30 isn't possible with the same number of vans and the same number of buses as we had 3 weeks ago. So Mrs. Murphy is doing an incredible job, is in constant communication with those families, but it is a massive challenge, and I just thought you should know in case something happens, so.
If I could just add one thing, so that the homeless population and transportation is not a unique challenge to us. In fact, a far more affluent district than us, we don't have any capacity, we can't do it. So even though it is the law and the rule, they just don't have the vans or the drivers to transport their homeless population. So I think it's super challenging across the state.
Okay, I have Jolene, and then I have Maggie, and then I have Allison.
How many students are involved with this? 9. 9, across all schools? Mm-hmm, yes. Thanks. Sure.
Suzanne, did you say 15 or 50?
5 families are traveling 50
Traveling.
minutes.
50.
One way, 50 minutes one way.
Oh, I did have another question. Are they all housed in the same?
They are all housed in the same housing complex.
Okay.
Yes.
Allison?
You probably can't answer this, but how does another district get to just say, "Oh, we can't"?
They're just openly violating the law.
And so what happens in that circumstance?
It will be fine
Yeah, I guess
until
you're
it's
just
not,
gonna answer,
until, oh,
Allison,
sorry,
all right?
Dr. Landry, sorry about that. It's fine until
Go
it's
ahead.
not fine. So
Uh-huh.
the day this happened, we were like, we called the Department of Education and we said, we're not trying to get out of our responsibility, right? It's terrible. These children were virtually taken from their home. One night they're living in a home and the next night they're in a hotel. No one wants that for any child. We were like, we don't know how we're going to make this happen, and their words were, you have to. We're like, okay, well, do you have ideas? So their ideas were taxi. We're like, we don't really have taxis here. They're like, what about, basically, what do you have any people who commute from your area, or people who commute from that area to us? And we're like, no. And then we would just call up Jolene and be like, hey, Jolene, will you pick up these 3 children? We're like, that doesn't seem like a real viable option either. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't be
But
super
we-
excited about that
yeah,
one. For the
so-
record, I wouldn't be
yeah.
thrilled with that option.
So we have just been trying to be creative, and we, in some cases, a family, they've connected and said, hey, I'll bring your kids Monday and Tuesday. If you bring mine Tuesday, Thursday, we're able to reimburse them mileage. Actually, we're required. So we're doing a lot of creative things to make it happen. You'd be incredibly impressed with Mrs. Murphy and her plan. But more, I wanted to make sure you knew in case it gets bumpy.
I find that odd because when we had kids who couldn't ride the van together to go to their special school, we had to buy a new van.
Mhm.
And it's like, how did they get away with just going, nope, sorry, and that doesn't seem to work for us,
Right?
I was just curious, there's 5 families, when some of them must work in this area, or is that?
I couldn't speak to their personal work thing, their work situation, but I do know some of them have been able to transport their children.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, some of them are definitely transporting.
Okay.
Go ahead, Amy.
So if we didn't do it, we'd get a fine, is what you're saying?
Yes, we
That's
could be
what-
in a lot of legal trouble.
Yeah.
We are one issue from a lawsuit away. There is no wiggle room, is what we were told by the Department of Education. You are responsible for figuring this out. No excuses acceptable.
Wow.
So if anybody wants to become a
It was-
van driver.
Glad you told us about that. I was not aware of it. Anybody else aware of it? No.
Well,
That's it for me, Ms. Ingram.
Wow. Okay, I don't see any more nameplates, so action items, consideration to approve grade 3 teacher at Sacopee Valley Elementary School.
So,
Bradley? Owen? So, this is going to be Madison Buzzle. Some of you may remember Madison Buzzle. She was a student here. She worked for TV2. She might have been in this room as a student. She will, if you can believe it, already be graduating from the University of Southern Maine in May with her bachelor's degree in elementary education. We're thrilled to have Maddie join our team. So that's who you're voting on.
Wow. Wonderful, come full cycle.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you her boss?
No.
Any questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Madison.
Welcome.
Consideration to approve the guidance counselor at Sacopee Valley Elementary School.
so moved.
second.
Jolene and Bradley. This individual already works for us. She's a middle school teacher right now. Her name is Cheryl Shadrick. Cheryl Shadrick holds a master's degree in counseling from Tarleton State University, and she also has a bachelor's degree from Texas Women's University, where she graduated magna cum laude, majoring in interdisciplinary studies. So, truthfully, this could probably be considered a voluntary transfer because she's going from the middle school to the elementary school, but since she's switching from teacher to counselor, thought it best to bring it before you, but she's already our district employee and ready to go. Again, she'll finish the year in this role and take the counseling role, which, to be honest, we haven't filled yet this year. So this has been a hard-to-fill position. Cheryl Shadrick.
Maggie, go ahead.
Cal, we don't have an assistant principal at the elementary school, right?
Correct.
So will she take a little bit of that?
On March 20th, Maggie, I'm gonna do a public budget meeting in here.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Okay. So no, so typically, so to answer you, and obviously you heard what I said, so that'll be part of the budget presentation, but typically counselors don't function in the role of disciplinarian in
Oh, just a
general.
little bit.
I think she'll take some administrative meeting with children, certainly off the plate of our principal. Yes, that.
Jill?
What grade is she coming from?
So again, went down the house, 5. I was on the 5-6 wing, 5.
So that will be 2 middle school teachers that will be leaving?
That will be
to
2
go?
middle school teachers. I
That we
met
have to
with,
fill.
Mr. Lane and Miss Logan today about that very thing. But I would say, yeah, I can't say, everything is getting hard to fill. But nothing quite like counselor. So this school counselor job has been near impossible to fill. I do think it'll be easier to fill grade 5 than it will to fill school counselor, as evidenced by, we haven't filled school counselor this entire school year. So I think we have a chance at grade 5, but I'll tell a story and whine on TV and whine to this board. When I first started, maybe, geez, so that's 11 years now, the pile of applicants for elementary ed used to be like this, and I remember Becky wasn't quite here yet, but I'd sit with Sue and we'd weed down to like 4 or 5 that we wanted to interview that had the right credentials out of the pile of 15 or so. We'll get 1, maybe 2 applicants for jobs now. So our pile of this has
Same
become
as
1
being a
person.
cop.
It is a challenge to get applicants. So while I am more hopeful 5 and 7, 8 than I am school counselor. So I'm thrilled she's making the transition, but yes, I'm worried. Every job now, where it used to be just like high school physics, I was worried. I'm worried about everything we post.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Betty?
Okay. Great, thank you.
That. Consideration to enter into executive session